Mr. Jackson, you are suing the defendant because you claim that your 20-year marriage has been based on a complete fraud. Now, you state that it was not until 1 year into your marriage that Ms. Jackson told you that you may not be the biological father of James Jackson IV. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when today's DNA results are revealed, you demand that Ms. Jackson pay you $5,000 for emotional distress and finally sign the divorce papers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jackson, you admit to having sex with another man around the time your son was conceived, but you claim that you did not deceive Mr. Jackson in any way, nor did you force him to marry you.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Jackson, how has your marriage been based on a fraud exactly?
Well, Your Honor, I think I've been tricked, Your Honor. She knew my past, and she knew that once she told me that she was pregnant, that I wanted a father in my son's life, like I didn't have a father in my life. So once she told me that, we got married in December of '95, a few months after she got pregnant, and come up a year into the marriage, and I find out that he may not be my child, Your Honor.
And so you stepped up to the plate and married her?
Yes, ma'am, 2 months after she told me.
You go to the doctor's appointments. You were there when James Jackson IV was born. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You obviously gave him your name.
I gave him my name.
He's the fourth.
I
signed the birth certificate.
signed the birth certificate.
He cut
was
the
there.
umbilical cord.
He cut the umbilical cord. I was there helping with his homework.
And
speed
so
records
your
and everything.
involvement with this young man,
Yes, ma'am.
this handsome young man, has been,
Yes.
you're his dad.
Yes, I mean graduation. I was there.
You were there.
His wrestling meets. I was there. His band. I was there.
So take me back up to this relationship.
We met in Job Corps. So we both took nursing classes together. The first time we had sex was in the Grass Motel.
What is that exactly?
When we was on the campus, we couldn't have sex in our dorms because it was separate dorm rooms. So we had to wait till nighttime to go out in the field and have sex on the Grass Hotel.
Oh, you called that the grass? Oh,
The Grass.
I got it.
Yes.
I got
and actually the first time.
Now,
He wanted a family, and he was not really tricked, because he went down to Kentucky to visit me, okay? He lived in Georgia. He wanted to follow me to Kentucky.
and so, Mr. Jackson, did you follow her to Kentucky? Did you want to have a family?
With her, it wasn't a family thing at that time. We was just going together. And actually, I was just going to see my girlfriend that lives in Kentucky.
So
I
were
couldn't
you
see
in
her.
any other relationship before you became pregnant? Before you figured out you were pregnant, were you in another relationship?
I had a boyfriend or a friend or hangout buddies that we'll go to the beach, we get drunk, we hang out, we party. I was a little older than he is, but you know, I wasn't really looking for him to be in my life. This guy was looking like a nerve. I didn't think he was gonna amount to much. He had a pick on his hair, he had on matching clothes, he had tennis shoes on, and he always sit
He
by
had a
himself.
pick in his hair and matching clothes and tennis
No
shoes.
matching.
Oh, they didn't match?
No, so one day I just went on and talked to him.
And so you ended up having a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
Did you use protection?
Yes, ma'am. But see, Your Honor, I think Mr. Jackson is the one that tricked me. He and I kind of start hanging out, being playful and all that. And then we went in the shower and one thing led to another, but I didn't know.
So let me ask you something. Obviously, you failed to use protection at some point or we wouldn't be here.
Your Honor, the only time that we did not use protection was one time, and I know it only takes one, but during that whole time, we're going out. Well, sometimes we'll go out and get drunk. We go to a hotel. One time I see.
Okay, basically I just needed to confirm that at some point you had sex without using protection, right?
Yes.
I don't need all the details of the sexual history.
Okay.
What made you just decide to marry her instantly like that, within a couple of months?
Well, when she told me she was pregnant, you know, that's what I think the right thing to do, because I didn't have a father in my life. I was going to be a father in my son's life. So.
And that's really the basis of your suit, is that you feel like she did this all, it was all a fraud.
Right, because
she manipulated and defrauded you.
Right, because up until actually
Your Honor,
now,
he
I
asked
never
me to
knew
get
that it was
married.
somebody else that could have been the father. I just had doubts in the dates and time.
Let's talk about this doubt.
Okay.
When did the doubts begin to set in?
The only time that she could have got pregnant was those 3 days out of August.
Talk to me about those dates.
Okay, August 95, 11th, 12th, and 13th is the only 3 days she could have got pregnant.
In August of 1995, it'd be the 11th, 12th, and 13th.
That's correct. Okay, from after we got married.
With Jackson. Okay.
And my son is born on June 8th, 1996.
June 8th. All right, why are you doubtful about these dates?
Because unless he's not my son, or you're looking at the only woman that's been pregnant 10 and a half months in history, the dates just don't add up. From August 11th, 12th, and 13th to June 8th
Your Honor.
is 10 and a half months.
So you feel like the dates are not adding up?
Your Honor.
Because that means, in your mind, you cannot be the father because that's too many weeks.
That's too many weeks, months, days, years.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Really, I think Mr. Jackson got upset because I told him we did the math and he thought he was gonna have his son being born around his birthday. His birthday, May the 7th.
It actually supposed to be born on May the 7th.
What he's saying, Ms. Jackson, is that if he counts back, it's over 10 months' time that you were pregnant, which we know pregnancies are usually 40 weeks.
And Your Honor, excuse me, but they induced her labor, so that wasn't her the due date. They induced her labor. She made them take the baby. 2 doctors and 1 midwife told me that couldn't be the conception date, period. I don't know.
The dates you gave me, August 11th, 12th, and 13th, could not be the conception date for a child born June the 8th.
No, it can't be. That's what they told me.
And that's why you really began to doubt.
Yes,
Ms. Jackson, do you admit that there is a slight reason to doubt? What percentage do you?
80-20, Your Honor. It was just because...
80-20?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
80% maybe the other guy kind of told and he's kind of light-skinned.
Wait a minute, 80-20, who's the 80?
The other guy. But we use protection, Your Honor. I was a little drunk. We were partying. We got up and it was the next day and we was out there at the beach and then it was like...
Don't tell me anything else. I don't want to know anything else.
This is the first time I'm hearing this, Your Honor.
Except...
This is the very first time.
I know now you're leading to the fact that you all had sex then.
But we always use protection.
Okay, but you 80% believe the other gentleman could be your son's father.
Yeah, he kind of looked like, but...
Did she ever say to you that this was not your son? Did she ever give you any indication? Did she say that?
As we drinking, again, Your Honor, she tells me in the hotel that I wasn't the father. Yeah. I possibly could be the father one time, and it kind of messed me up then.
Your Honor.
She said she never did.
And do you remember saying that?
See, this is how it happened. Mr. Jackson, and I'm telling you the whole thing. Mr. Jackson begged me to come get him out of jail court, to go and get him out so that he could go in hotels with me. So that's when we would drink. It's not like I was an alcoholic, and it was not like he was drinking all the time.
Did you ever tell him that James Jackson IV was not his son?
He got me drunk at the house and trying to get the truth out of me, Your Honor. So I was
so
drunk.
did he get the truth out of you?
Yes.
Okay.
But
so wait a minute. You said he got you drunk and tried to get the truth out of you, and you told him that James Jackson IV was not his child.
Yeah.
Is that the truth?
He always tell that to his daughter, too, that the boys don't look like him. So is that what you
believed, or were you saying what you believed he wanted to hear?
He got me confused, Your Honor, because I was drunk.
Okay.
He got me drunk. So.
I would like to hear from your son. Mr. Jackson, this is a lot to hear. Tell me your perspective. I mean, when you hear all of this is your dad. This is the man you've grown up with your whole life. Did you ever know that there was a doubt relating to your paternity?
Your Honor, this man before you has always been my dad. He's been there through my graduations. He's been there through my wrestling meets, band, everything.
Beautiful. And I can see, Mr. Jackson, this really hurts you. Mr. Jackson the fourth, did you ever have any knowledge that there was a question relating to your paternity?
It was one night, Your Honor. I was asleep. I overheard them arguing. I climbed downstairs, you know, sneaking up on the argument, and I overheard that he possibly couldn't have been my father. I was 5 years old at the time. I really didn't pay no attention to it because he will always be there for me. So I would think it was just a petty thing to say during arguments, you know? He would be downstairs and my mom would be upstairs. And I would think it was just, you know, a little doghouse, you know, him, you know, get his punishment for the arguments or whatever. So I really didn't think nothing of it, you know? I was a child then.
But you weren't understanding that there were issues and
Right.
they were having disagreements because they were talking about whether or not the man you believed to be your father was actually your biological father, that perhaps there was someone else.
Other than that, there was no relative, no auntie, no uncle saying that's not your father, no random man.
Never had that?
Never had that.
Did your dad ever give you any clue?
We would possibly sit down and briefly talk about it. For example, he would sit me down and say, how long does a baby stays in the womb? And I would say 9 months. He was like, well, it took you 11 or 10. And I would say,
as he's older now.
As I'm older, as I can understand things more better. So I guess he was trying to prepare me. But it would be brief conversation so I wouldn't be too heavily on the fact.
So you feel like he was, in his own way, preparing you?
In his own way, yes.
So where do we go from here? What's at stake here? If, in fact, it's determined that this young man, Mr. Jackson IV, is determined not to be your biological child, you will divorce your wife.
If he's not my son, or if he is my son biologically, I'm still wanting to divorce.
Your
Because
Honor.
I have a girlfriend that's wanting to get married.
So wait a minute now.
Your Honor.
So you've been trying to get her to sign these divorce papers?
We've been doing this for about 10 years.
What, Your Honor? We got married for life, okay? We got married. Mr. Jackson and I had a conversation that he was gonna get married in church too, but he didn't marry me in church. So now Mr. Jackson understood that once we are married for life.
Married on a lie.
Regardless. Whether it's a lie or not, we were married. We were living together. We were building our family.
And so you do not have any intention of signing divorce papers?
No, ma'am, because he wants to get divorced, he got to pay himself, but I'm not going to participate on that, taking care of his girlfriend. So he wanted to marry her, go ahead and divorce. Okay, fine, that's fine, but I'm not paying a penny for it. But
Okay. I think I've heard enough. I am ready for the results. Jerome, these results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Jackson III versus Jackson, when it comes to 19-year-old James Jackson IV, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Jackson, you are his father. Great news, right?
Awesome news. Yeah.
That's wonderful. You happy, Mr. Jackson?
Oh, yes. Perfect.
How does it feel to finally just know for sure?
Oh, it's It's a load off my chest, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. That's why we're here. Mr. Jackson, you came to court with a suit for $5,000 for emotional distress. We've determined now he is your biological child.
Yes.
And so the emotional distress, in terms of thinking the entire time that he was not, is not something I can award you damages for. With that said, your claim is dismissed, judgment for the defendant. About this family. Ultimately, you share a beautiful son. How you move on from here is going to be your decision. You have to talk about this. You have to communicate. We have counseling and resources for you, and I wish you all the very best of luck, and I'm happy for you both.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned. Ms. Morgan, you say you are convinced Mr. Mangum is the father of your 3-week-old daughter, Joy. You claim that his paternity doubts have led to tension in your relationship, and you are desperate to prove he is the father to save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mangum, you say Ms. Morgan was unfaithful during your relationship and have bombshell evidence that will prove her baby is not your biological child. Is that correct?
Your Honor.
So, Ms. Morgan, you say the defendant has done nothing for your baby.
No, ma'am.
Explain.
I'm sick of him denying our 3-week-old daughter. He hasn't done anything for her since she's been born.
I'm not gonna take care of another man's child, Your Honor.
This is your baby. She looks just like you. She looks just like our 1-year-old daughter. She's yours. Step up and do
She
what
been
you have to
unfaithful,
do.
Your Honor.
He's lying.
That baby look nothing like me.
Okay.
She looks just like you. Are you blind?
So you say your family's on the line, Ms. Morgan.
Yes, ma'am. Your
And you
Honor.
have another child together.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so this paternity issue is really affecting the home.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your relationship.
Yes, Your
How
Honor.
so? What's going on in the relationship?
Since Joy been conceived, he has moved out of our home. He moved out when I was 7 months pregnant. He hasn't done anything for our 1-year-old daughter that we already have because he thinks that he's not the father of our 3-week-old daughter.
And so you're not living in the home right now, Mr. Mangum,
No, Your Honor.
and you decided to leave because you truly have paternity doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
She's yours. Step up, do what you have to do.
She been cheating and she been unfaithful.
Do you have
I
any
sorry.
proof of me cheating?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where's your proof?
I actually have brought my brother here to prove him that she's been cheating during our relationship.
Oh, so your brother
Yes,
has the first-hand knowledge that she's been cheating?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, please step up to the podium. I'd like to hear from you. State your name for the record.
My name is Brandon, Jacori's brother.
He says you have evidence that confirms that Ms. Morgan has been cheating in the relationship.
I have evidence I caught her cheating 3 times, Your Honor.
Really?
Yes,
That's
And
not
you
true.
actually,
yes it is.
No, it isn't.
you actually submitted an exhibit to the court to outline the various times you caught Ms. Morgan cheating.
Yes, Your Honor, I actually have proof, Your Honor.
Please step over to the exhibit.
The first time I caught her cheating at my family home when she was picking up her daughter. And
So you saw her in the car with another guy
yes,
I
Your
must
Honor.
have a twin that isn't me.
at your family home.
In the car with her, then they drove away.
He's lying.
So did you show up with another guy, Ms. Morgan?
No, Your Honor, I didn't. He's lying.
So
They
you
have
were never in a car with a guy?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor. They have manipulated his mind. Other family members,
Your
they
Honor.
have him thinking that he's not the father when we all know he's the father. He know he's the father. I haven't slept with anyone else. There's no possible way that he's not the father.
But if his brother said he saw you 3 times, why is he saying
I
that?
have a twin
3
because he
times.
did not see me with anyone else.
3.
All right, so Mr. Mangan, this is the first time you say you caught Ms. Morgan cheating.
Yes, Your Honor, this is the first time. Caught.
Caught. All right. Go to the second time.
The second time I caught her cheating, Your Honor, at the food market, when I saw her pulled up and he pulled up, he got out and she got out, they hugged and went inside the food market, Your Honor.
Really?
Yes.
That must have been my brother. I have a brother. That isn't me.
That's the same guy.
No, it isn't the
Yes,
same
it
guy.
is.
That's not even me. I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's not me.
Do you have red hair ever?
Yes, ma'am. people
her.
where we stay with red hair. Red hair is popular nowadays.
So you're saying it's somebody else with red hair?
Yes.
So, Mr. Mangum, you say you saw Ms. Morgan's car.
Yes, Your
The
Honor.
other car that pulled up, was that the same car they pulled off in from the first time?
Yes, Your Honor. They was in her car the first time.
So why didn't you confront me when you saw me?
I ain't have to.
You didn't, because it wasn't me.
And this is the second time you caught her with this guy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Caught.
Caught.
That's not true, Your
Caught.
Honor. Definitely not caught.
And you say there is a third time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please let me see that.
Third time I caught her on Highway 18. I started following them, Your Honor.
Oh,
Then
you
I-
did?
Yes. Then I called my brother. He told me to stop following
You was
them.
following
so I
the
turned
wrong
off.
people because that wasn't me.
So you were
I
following.
seen y'all.
You were following Miss Morgan and the guy in the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the guy was driving?
Yes.
Who was
Again, why
driving
didn't
your
you
car? You
confront
forgot
me?
to put your head in there.
Yeah, I was driving my car.
He didn't confront me. He did not confront me. He said
It's not
he
his
saw.
job to confront you.
If he said he see me cheating, that's your brother. He's supposed to
And
confront
so what
me.
I want to know, Mr. Mangum, when you were following them, how far did you get?
I was following them about 5 minutes. Then when I called my brother, he told me, don't worry about it, just turn off.
So now, listen, at the point you turn off, you see them just speed on off.
Yes, Your Honor. They kept
That
going.
wasn't me in that car.
And it's the same guy every time.
The same guy every time.
But he never confronts me either time. That doesn't make sense.
All right, thank you so much for that presentation and for your handy detective work. So, Mr. Mangum, you are convinced this child is not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your brother has testified that he's seen Miss Morgan 3 times. So much doubt, you decided to move out of the house.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you don't want to step up and be a
I also
dad,
have-
just don't be a
I
dad.
also
Don't
have
say
more
that
proof,
she's
Your
not
Honor.
yours. She's yours.
And what other proof do you have, sir? If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
While she was in the shower back in November, while she was in the shower, I had got her phone. I went through it. She had left unlocked.
Why didn't you confront me about it?
I went through it, and I seen her and another dude texting on Facebook Messenger, talking about having sex and talking about how they like each
That's
other,
not
what they
true.
like
That's
about
not
each other.
true.
And I actually
Talk,
did.
wait, you saw her Facebook Messenger and there were texts about having sex with another guy?
So why didn't you confront me
Yes, Your
about
Honor.
it? Why didn't you confront me
Your
about
Honor,
it?
I actually did confront her about it. She said that wasn't her. That was her.
You must
her
have been going through
cousin.
your phone because you
Your
didn't
Honor,
go through my phone and saw anything about any
she
text
said that was her
messages.
cousin
I have been
texting him. That
faithful.
wasn't her. But he was describing what he liked about her, and
He's a cheater.
she
He's
was
lying.
describing him. So it was them.
And so you actually submitted a calendar to the court which outlines.
November when I've been catching her cheating.
And so in
On
November
August 20th.
2017, you found text messages discussing sexual encounters with other men. You found text messages between Ms. Morgan, your girlfriend, and another man talking about sex.
Yes, Your Honor.
November 2017.
Yes, Your Honor.
Joy was born August 20th.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
She's
so if
yours.
we
Step
count
up.
back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months,
Yes, Your Honor.
that would be the time when you found the messages which indicated she was having sex with someone else.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that would be very near the window of time Joy would have been conceived.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so it is for that reason you have sincere doubt about the paternity?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Morgan, what is your response to that?
I have never cheated on him, Your Honor. Even when he was unfaithful in our relationship, I have never cheated on him.
Yes, you have.
I caught him on different occasions with different women throughout my pregnancy, and it was so depressing to have to see him be with other women and cheat with other women. And even after I saw all that, I was still faithful to him, and he just moved out the house and just
That's
switched
happening, Your
up and have not been taking care of our daughter.
Were you having conversations with other men to get back at him?
No, Your Honor. I wouldn't dare do anything like that.
And so why do you think Mr. Mangum and his brother would just concoct all these stories about you and none of them
None of
have
them.
any truth?
None of them.
They stupid.
Mr. Mangum, do you admit you were sexually active with Ms. Morgan during the window of conception?
We was living together, don't lie.
Your Honor, I have been using the withdrawal method since
What
we've been
withdrawal
together.
method?
Since we've been together.
What withdrawal method? We have 2 kids.
Your Honor, I used the withdrawal method through our whole relationship.
Okay. You believe you were protecting yourself from pregnancy by using the withdrawal method, and
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
believe, therefore, you are not Joy's biological father.
Yes, Your
Just
Honor.
step
But
up
you
and take
do
care of your
admit to
child.
having sex.
Yes, Your Honor.
This other person, you say your brother called her 3 times. You saw the text messages. Were there any other signs? Was she disappearing? Was she not at home when she said she was gonna be?
I work a lot, so there's no telling what's been happening while I'm at work.
When you at work, I'm taking care of the child. I'm not taking care of the child and having sex at the same time. Being a mother is a hard job. You can't do both.
But you've been unfaithful.
How
You've been
have I been
unfaithful,
unfaithful?
you've been
When?
cheating.
Where's your proof? Your brother is no proof because he don't even have his story together.
We have proof.
Didn't you see this exhibit that his brother made?
Yes, Your Honor, but
That
that
baby
wasn't
don't look
me.
like me, Your
That
Honor.
wasn't me, Your Honor.
That baby
was...
look Hispanic. And by the looks of it, neither one of us is Hispanic.
Just because she's
How
bright,
can you judge a baby by
3 weeks,
what she
she's
looks like
3
and
weeks.
3 weeks old?
She don't even have any futures. Give my baby time to get a face.
The first child looked just exactly like me. Exactly like me. This child looked nothing like me.
She doesn't have any futures yet. She 3 weeks
Future,
old.
she does have a future.
She's 3 weeks. Futures.
Features. Oh, I was about to say, that's why we're here, to get this baby a future.
She's 3 weeks old, Your Honor. She
Your
does-
Honor, the first
All right,
baby looked
so you
exactly like me
saying
when she
her
was born.
features aren't fully developed, and therefore he can't compare right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we cannot base this on looks, Mr. Mangum. But the truth is, you just don't believe this child
Yes,
is
Your Honor.
yours. And I can tell that. And Ms. Morgan, I can see you've been going through a lot with 2 children, basically under the age of 2.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is exhausting under regular circumstances where you have the father and you have support.
It's not my
Very,
fault she
very
been
hard.
cheating.
How has this been for you?
It have been hard, Your Honor.
And what have you been going through?
A lot. I have to take care of 2 children. He have left the house, and it's just hard.
And so the tears that I see right now.
It's overwhelming. And for someone to be denying your child and they know they're the father, it's just so stressful. As a mother, it's very stressful.
So there really is a lot at stake. This is not, we may laugh at an exhibit or make fun of something that's been said, but ultimately we know this is really not a joke. This is serious. We've got 2 very young children and a mother saying, I'm struggling. This is extremely difficult. Have you held Joy? Have you played with her? Have you established a bond 3 weeks old?
No, Your Honor.
He took one look at her at the hospital and put her down and said she wasn't his and left.
Did you do that, Mr. Mangum?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you haven't seen her since in
No,
3
Your Honor.
weeks?
No, Your Honor.
Is it wearing on you? Does it bother you?
It kind of do bother me, but at the same time, I just know this baby is not mine.
She's yours. Step up and be a dad. You took care of the first one, you're gonna take care of this one too.
You all young, and you're just making babies? Right. Without even truly solidifying the relationship. This is a mess because the children are so young. What does this mean to you, Mr. Mangum? What do you want from this? Do you want Joy to be your biological daughter?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you do want her to be yours?
Yes, Your Honor, but the way she been going through our relationship, cheating and texting and talking to other dudes, I mean...
I have never cheated on you
Yes,
throughout
Your
our
Honor.
whole
Yes, she have, Your
relationship.
Honor. She
I
been
have never
cheating.
cheated on
She
you.
been
Our
cheating,
daughter is
texting other
yours. She's
dudes.
yours.
And I just know this baby not mine.
And what are your hopes for today, Ms. Morgan?
I hope that the results come back, which I know they would, that he is the father, that he will step up and take care of our daughter like he did to the first one, and he can come home and we can be a family and raise our kids.
All right. Well, she is just too precious for us to wait a moment longer. Let's get the truth. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Morgan versus Mangum, when it comes to 25-day-old Joy Mangum, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Mangum, you are the father. That's your beautiful baby girl.
Yes, Your Honor.
Joy is yours. How does that feel to know for certain?
We could be parents now. We could set aside the differences, try to make things work out for our children.
And it's not just about setting aside the differences. You also have to set aside the habits and the actions that don't serve the family. And I'll tell you one thing, your withdrawal method didn't work this time, and it also is not gonna work in terms of fatherhood.
Yes, Your Honor.
Every time something don't go right, you can't withdraw. Every time you get mad or there's an argument, you can't pack your stuff up and go home, because that's what children do. Oh, well, I'm mad now, take my ball and go home. You don't do that once you create people.
Yes, Your Honor.